Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Rotation Theory. This is a show where I theorize about what the best rotation is for whatever job I'm playing. For this one, we're talking about Paladin, and the Paladin is a very simple job. They basically have 3 combos that you're going to be rotating between, and 2 abilities that you're just going to be weaving in basically whenever they're on cooldown, or off cooldown. The first combo is Fast Blade, Riot Blade, Royal Authority, which will grant you 3 stacks of Sword Oath, which lets you use Atonement 3 times. It's obviously a pretty strong combo. It's the most basic combo you're going to be using. But the first one you're actually going to use is ending with Goring Blade after Fast and Riot Blade. This applies damage over time, which you basically want to keep up as often as you can. And right after using Goring Blade, you're going to go into Requiescat, and then Holy Circle 4 times, and then Confidier, or this button, like 4 times. And that's because obviously Confidier is a very strong move. You want to use it as often as you can, but it's best to use it after using Holy Spirit 4 times, because that's going to be, you can see its Requiescat potency is 540, which is going to be more than Royal Authority's 420. Or Atonement's 420. And then, of course, Confidier's 900. So basically what that looks like is Fast Blade, then Riot Blade, then go into Goring Blade and Requiescat, then just use 4 Holy Circles, because you get the 5 stacks of Requiescat, or, yeah, 5 stacks of Requiescat, then Confidier. Then this combo, the Blade of Faith, Blade of Truth, and Blade of Valor, is essentially just Fast Blade, Riot Blade, and Goring Blade, but stronger versions. Then Expansion and Circle of Scorn you're going to want to use during Fight of Flight, or Fight for Flight, to get the bonus, or the extra damage boost, which is why I don't use them right at the start, because I like to keep them I like to keep them on the same cooldown, basically, as Fight or Flight. Obviously, as long as you're using them within the window of having the buff, it should be fine. But, I don't know, I just like using them at the same time so that I know it lines up pretty well. Then, as you can see, Requiescat is coming back up. So, to take it from the top, use Goring Blade, then Requiescat, Holy Spirit, 4 times. Theoretically, you could just go straight into Confidier, but then you're missing out on the 540 potency. So then we'll go through Confidier, and again, these are essentially just Fast Blade, Riot Blade, and Goring Blade. So you don't want to, I already messed that up. You don't want to use Goring Blade right after, because that's going to get rid of the Blade of Valor damage over time, and it'll be a weaker potency. So let's see. So after using Atonement, you can see Blade of Valor's falling off, so then you replace it with Goring Blade, and then you go back to Royal Atonement. Because like I said, that's basically like the filler, the basic combo you use in between the damage over time and while you're waiting for Requiescat. And I do remember hearing that you should only use like 2 abilities in between GCDs. So I usually try to use Fight or Flight right after the Confidier combo, and then use Fast Blade and then go into Expansion and Circle of Scorn, just so that I'm not triple weaving. Like that. And then because I kind of messed it up a little bit on the last one, I used it like 1 GCD later. It just got a little bit out of sync. And then of course, because like if depending on your skill speed, the GCDs are going to be a little less than 2.5 seconds. It's not going to line up quite perfectly with the abilities that don't get affected by skill speed, which is kind of lame. I kind of wish that the abilities were affected by skill speed, but I get why they would be. I'm sure it would affect balance pretty heavily. But just in terms of making things line up nicely, it would be kind of nice if they were also affected. But anyways, that's basically it. It's just those 3 combos, the Goring Blade, Requiescat, and Royal Atonement, as I like to call it, are the 3 combos that you're going to be cycling through. And yeah, that's really pretty basically it. The AoE combo is of course even simpler. Let me just finish this configure, and then you just Royal Authority, and then still Expedition Circle of Scorn, because that's damage over time. I mean, it's an ability, so it's free damage anyway, so if you want to use it. And then just Total Eclipse and Prominence. Once Requiescat is up, you can use Holy Circle, which is your AoE spell ability. I didn't even explain. Requiescat increases the strength of your Holy Spirit and Holy Circle, which is why you use those after using Requiescat, and why you're not just spamming it without it. Because as you can see, Holy Circle here, potency 130, Total Eclipse is potency 100, so technically Holy Circle would be better than just a bunch of Total Eclipses. But then Prominence is 170. So totaling that up, 2 Royal Circles, 260, and then Total Eclipse and Prominence would be 270. So without Requiescat, obviously these two would be more powerful. But if you use Requiescat, then you can use Holy Circle for 300 potency, which is more than just a Prominence and Total Eclipse. And I missed the configure because I wasn't paying attention. Obviously that would have been 900, and let me just look at the potencies here. For Blade of Faith, that would be 250, which is already going to be more than Prominence, though it is 50% less for all remaining enemies. It depends. If you have like a bunch of enemies, then maybe it would be better to have Prominence, but if it's just like 2 or 3, I'm sure Blade of Faith is fine, because then Blade of Truth is 350, and Blade of Valor is 420 with damage over time. Like I said, basically the fast combo, the Fast Blade, Riot Blade, Goring Blade combo. And that's basically it for the combat, what's it called, rotation. In terms of mitigation, because you know this is a tank, just use Sheltron. Basically, at the beginning of every pull, it gives you reduced damage and gradually restores HP, which is pretty nice. And then I usually just pair it with like a Rampart or Sentinel, depending on whatever one is off cooldown at the time. And then if you're really in trouble, you can use Reprisal and Arm's Length to get even more damage reduction. And then Divine Veil. I still don't really like Divine Veil. Like, because it doesn't apply to me, right? Or does it? I think it did? I don't know. I can't tell because I'm not targeting myself. It would show the... Would it show here? Or is it just on the party list? I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, Divine Veil, it protects your party at least for 10% of your maximum HP after you get healed after using the ability, which is a ridiculous move. Even though it does say it heals you, right? Is that a thing? Additional cure potency? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so that's basically it for the Paladin. Let me know if you have any thoughts on what a better rotation is. Like, if you think I should just start with Expedition and Circle of Scorn and then go into Fight or Flight after. Or like if I should start Goring Blade and Fight or Flight and then Requiescat after or something. I don't know. Leave it in the comments, and I don't know, maybe I'll reply to you because I very rarely check the comments. I mean, I read them eventually, but I just don't check it very frequently. But anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.